Well, hello. This video that I've made is specifically for those who have perhaps just recently bought the Solis Barista Perfetta Plus. Now this is a fairly new machine, and the people we bought from, and I'm from Melbourne, they've just brought it in last November, and it's fairly new. And they themselves are not very sure about the machine. But I've had this for a week, and I want to share with you a couple of tips that you might want to know before you think that something is wrong with the machine that you bought and you were most disappointed and ready to send it back to your retailer or the shop that you've bought from, and thinking that is a warranty issue. But these are the two things that you need to know that makes all of us realize that it's really not the issue with the machine. So just to save you the trouble of like what I did, I was really concerned, simply because this is the first time I've bought an expensive machine, as far as I'm concerned, to make myself a decent cup of coffee. And when it doesn't work according to what the manual says, it's very disappointing. And I started to regret buying this machine. But once you know these two tips, you just realize perhaps there's nothing wrong with it. So I'm going to share with you, to save you the trouble of having to drive back to the retailer and perhaps sound quite stupid to say there's nothing wrong with me, something wrong with the machine. But in the end, it's actually about me not doing something that is right. And by the way, it's not written in the manual. So that's why I want to share this in the video. Two things I want you to be aware of. I'm assuming in this video, I'm not going to go through the things that you need to do. I'm assuming you've read through the manual, you've been fairly diligent, and you've been very careful about it, and yet you're not pulling shots. And the problem is this, and I'll explain the problem, and if it's the same, then I know what the issue will be. The problem is this: I pull my shot, beautiful, it came out right, perfect. I turn the machine on, and the two lights in the middle flash just to heat up the machine, and within seconds it's ready to go. Then I pull my shot, wonderful shot. Then I press the steam button, and the steam button then flashes, and that's what it's meant to do. And then it's a solid light, a constant light, which means the steam is ready to go. Then I put my milk in and I steam, beautiful steam, and then I turn it off. I did the right thing as per the manual, and then I made my coffee, and I enjoyed the coffee. But I noticed that the machine, the steamer continues to flash. It continues to flash. It doesn't stay, if you like, constant, as if it's either trying to heat up or trying to cool down. And then when I release the steam, which that's what the manual says, to get rid of the pressure so that the machine can cool down, so you can do your next shot. And when the machine cools down, the middle two buttons starts to flash again, just to say, hey, I'm cooling down, and I'm ready for the next shot. And within seconds, the two middle buttons will light up constantly. And then, which means you're ready for your shot again. Now, the manual doesn't really tell you what happens after the steamer. The manual just tells you turn the steamer off. Now, what happened to me was these two middle buttons did not stop blinking. It just went on and on for as 10 minutes. And as you know, in this machine, one of the features are when it's on for 10 minutes, it goes in a standby mode for 20 minutes, and then if nothing happens in 20 minutes, it just shuts down automatically. And this is what happens to me. It just never stopped blinking. And I was a little bit concerned. No other buttons work when it starts to blink, as you would read in a manual. And this has happened to me, and I realized something is not right. And I thought what was wrong with the machine, because the machine never stopped blinking. So I couldn't do a second shot if I wanted to. So I thought to myself, I paid hundreds of dollars for a one-shot machine. And I started to think, well, this brand perhaps may not be what is portrayed itself to be, but how wrong I was. Now, these are the two things you need to worry about. After you have steamed it, or every time after you have turned the steam off, or on or off, when you turn the steam off, make sure you turn the steam off completely. In fact, when you turn it to the off position, there's a little slight click, very slight click, that you need to make sure you click it off, and that is when it's off. The mistake I did was I just turned it to the off position and never really finished the off, never turned it off. I just turned it ever so lightly, being a new machine and I didn't want to use too much weight on it. I just turned it down, I didn't turn it off. That's what's happened. If you don't turn that off, the steamer button off, or not button, but the dial off completely, you will realize that the machine will not cool down, and neither would it shut down, neither would it heat up again. You cannot do another shot. That is one of the things that I found, and when I took it back to the shop was all confused too, until we tried all sorts of options, and suddenly we realized that we did not turn this steamer button or steamer knob off completely until you hear a slight click. That is one trick. So when we have done that, then everything was smooth. I just came home. That's why it's prompted me to do this video, so that you don't get into the same trouble as I did. And I pull my shot, I turn it off completely, and it's worked perfectly. I can pull a second shot anytime I want. And now, as you can see, perhaps see the button is all flashing. Alternatively, it's in a standby mode. There will be another video about Solis machine. But essentially, these are the things that you need to be careful about. That's number one. Turn your steamer knob completely off until you hear a slight click. Now, don't put too much pressure on it. It's enough to just, you can hear the slight click. Now, the second thing is this. The second thing is this machine comes with a filter. It's the intenser. And I followed the instructions. Again, it was not in the instruction. It says insert your filter. I did all the right things. I made sure I fill the filter upside down, and I made sure I fill all the water with it and press all the air out, and then I fill the water tank up and put the filter in and put it into the slot that was made for this filter. So I just put it into the slot, perfect slot. It just fits nicely inside. But the manual, no, not the Solis manual, by the way, it's Brita, it's made by Brita. It doesn't say use a bit of force to push it in until it clicks. It didn't say anything. It just says fit it in. So what I did was just put it in. And guess what happened? Some of the people have talked about it. It actually floats up. They said, how could I fit the filter in there? You know, it fits in. It's just a little round slot that goes something like that, but it just fits in. But you have to push it harder. Don't worry about it until you feel, in fact, it's quite hard, until you feel a little snap. That's when the filter is properly fitted in. Because if you don't fit the filter in, this machine is not going to like it. And it might even void your warranty, because it does say in the manual that you can either run the machine with the filter or without the filter. Now, I have made the feature option to click yes, I've got a filter, but a filter, if not fitted properly, it would be like as if you're running without the filter. Now, if you ran the machine without a filter and tell the machine that it is a filter, the warranty is void. So make sure you fit the filter in properly. And that's not written properly in the manual. So I hope these two things help you in troubleshooting, if you like, of this machine, and enjoy that machine. It's a beautiful machine. It works very well. It pulls a great shot. It's got all the features there, as you would know. But these are the two things that's going to spoil your experience if you didn't know it. Now, I must say, the sales guy didn't know it either. We learned together. But again, we can't blame the sales guy. I know you would say that the salesperson who sells this ought to know, but you know, people do make mistakes and people sometimes are not sure. So we learn together. So I'm using this as an opportunity to share with you. Make sure you don't make the mistake as I did. And when you do those two things, you'll be running a beautiful machine at home with a great coffee. Enjoy. Thank you for joining us. And if you think I'm of any help, please like this video. It helps me because it creates a bit of a traffic, and subscribe to this channel. This channel will have music, will have everything, and now we're just getting together, reviewing little machines in a way that would help normal consumers like you and I. Thank you. We'll hope to see you again.